Hello everyone, welcome back. Sorry about earlier today. Electricity went off exactly when I started to stream. My name is Amir Ahmed. I'm an architect, Egyptian architect, computational designer, and co-founder of Exact Architecture Studio. We are in this series making an architectural design and modeling in Rhino and in Rhino7 and Grasshopper. Today we are going to initial part 3. In part 1 we basically modeled the Rhino, modeled the conceptual form of the complex tower. In part 2, which was yesterday, we started to get a little bit in detail and started to jump into Grasshopper, and we created small units like this one in here, and started to morphing it into a twisted box, which basically what we will continue to work on today. So let's start. That's what we did yesterday, and we will continue to work on it. If you missed part 1 or part 2, you will find it in the channel, and also there are playlists with the 3 parts combined together. So here we go. Yesterday we created multiple meshes. We created sub D, and from the sub D extracted multiple meshes and transformed them into a sub D form, a parametric sub D form. But in today's session we will remodel this part, because yesterday what was a little bit messy, so we will create a cleaner version for it. So basically we will delete all of this for now. Let's just check these. When you want to zoom to a specific thing and you are selecting it in Grasshopper, just right click on the canvas and click zoom, and you will go to it easily, and it will be easy to maneuver around it. So that's the first meshes that we will deal with. This will be the second meshes, and basically the first two will be the first two will be the main form of the sub D. This will be the lighting part, and this will be the glass. Okay. To save myself some time, I created these parts. Okay, and I will delete those. I created them in something in a layer here called morph to units to morph. I created them already with the structure and everything, and I will just select simply. Go to here and go to the complex. This file is already available on Patreon, and of course it's the same thing that we explained yesterday. So I will select those because I already did them. I don't want to repeat myself, and simply paste them in here. When you want to paste something, and you have a huge file like this, and you want to paste it exactly in the middle, just click Control Alt and V, sorry, Control Shift and V, and you will paste it exactly where you are at the canvas. Okay. So now if we checked what's happening in here, let me show you just real quick, and let's hide those for now. let me remove this. So let's zoom. This is the first meshes and the second meshes, which they are basically the sub D form. This is the lighting in the middle. This is the glass, the double glass that we are making. And these are just boxes, simple boxes. As you can see, let me hide those. Preview off. These are just simple boxes because I want to create a simple structure, simple conceptual structure around them. So it's just 3 boxes, nothing fancy. And in here I created these wires to form some kind of a secondary structure to fix everything on it as a cladding or as a GRC or whatever. So basically what I did is just let me show you again. Let's hide everything. HI, Control A, HI, and I need to show this. You can see that there is an offset in here, and this offset I transformed it into, let's move it a little bit outside. This is a B-rip, not a sub D. I basically transformed a sub D into B-rip. If you want to transform sub D into B-rip, just click on it and say to NURBS. You will see it in here, and you want to delete the input, and there is some sub D options. I don't care about them for now. If you want to delete the input or not, for now let's say yes. I don't want the input, and you will transform that into a NURB surface. So basically what I did in here is just input this. Let's say NURBS. Sorry, let's say BRIP. Okay, and deconstruct BRIP again. The first 2 letters from each. Let's set 1 BRIP from each word, and if I want to divide it exactly with keeping the curvature of it, all I need to do is just divide domain square, make sure that they are grafted, and input it in here. And again, list item. Sorry, I want to ISO trim, and input the surfaces, input the domains, and you can see if we hide this HI and hidden this, and just show me the wireframes, you can see that these are the wires that we want to deal with. Of course, when you can make them meshes or something like that, but in this case it will make your processor and your graphic card to have a really hard time, and maybe sometimes your computer and your grasshopper file will crash. That's not what you need. And in this case you are just making a concept, just visualize an idea. So let's keep it as a curves. Don't try to transform them into meshes or something. That's really important. And of course in here maybe we can reduce them a little bit. Let's say 5 by 5 or something, so they will be a little bit less like this. Okay, and let's now they are each what we did in here, each surface has 4 edges. Some of the edges are above each other, so I need to remove the edges. I need to remove the duplicate edges in this case. So simply, as you can see in here, there are 4 edges in each surface. I don't want that. So I will say flatten, and I will create points. I will say remove duplicate points, but first I need to assign points, so I will say midpoints. So each curve will get a point. I don't need this. I need to remove no, it's cull, I think. Yes, this one, remove duplicate points, and select this one. This one, if we want to look for it, Control Alt and click on it, you will find it in. Let me. Yes, you will find it in here in TT Toolbox, which basically in Food for Rhino. If you don't have it, please download it. So why I did this? Basically because in here I have one like 1200 points, but after removing the duplicate points, we need to a little bit in it, make this point 0.01. Why is it not working? I think my computer is having a hard time. Okay, here we go. So in here you have nulls, and if you the null, basically that means that the points are not are duplicated and he removed one of them. So if we set cull pattern or cull index, anyway, yes, that's basically it. So what we did in here, there is 1200 points, and in here you have only 673. So that's almost half of the points, or basically half of the curves. You don't need to make a lot of curves with nothing else. Okay, so that's it for this part, and of course I baked them. Group, bake, yes, okay, and it doesn't select them because of this. Hide me everything. Show. Alright, let's go to curves and simply bake. Okay, bake them in the default or bake them wherever you want to bake them. Preview off, and it doesn't bake. I don't know what's happening today. Disable and enable. Preview. Bake in the units to morph. Anyway, my point is just to save some times, because I don't know why this doesn't work. It was exactly working. After we do this, I created them in here. As you can see, they are in here, and of course we will deal with them with the same twisted box. So that's basically what we will do. So enable everything in here, just to make sure that everything is perfect. The order in these things are important, because the first two will be the sub D form, the main sub D form. After that, the lighting. After that, the glass. After that, the structure. After that, the wires. So that's exactly the same order of the three of them. As you can see, preview on, and it's the same thing on all of them. So now let's hide those, and let's preview off those for now, and let's continue. We will select everything in here and move it a little bit, just like this, maybe a little bit down, and move those up just like this, and let's move on. So now we want to morph to twisted box. This is the twisted box that we are working on. Preview on. In these cases, we want to let's show the twisted box again. Let's say show me these. Okay, and we will identify the twisted box again. So basically, we will say box. Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, and this will be the first one. Set one box again from the right bottom near to the top left far, like this. That's the first one. Set one box from here to here, and set one box from here to here. Okay, these are the three boxes that we want to deal with them. Okay, and if I input something in a wrong, if I input, for instance, if I input this merge in a wrong input, I just click Control and Shift, and he will give me this this like undo sign, and basically I drag from here to here. So that's basically the geometry that we want to deal with. Okay, and this is the twisted box, the box that we want to morph everything to it. Let's show, and it's not working as we want it to work. Let's say graft, and of course it doesn't work in this script, so we need to group everything in here and simply drag them in here. It will take some time. And there is something wrong with the twisted boxes, so we need to make sure that they are perfect. Let's draw them again. Actually no, they are perfect, but we attach the wrong box to the wrong unit. That's what happened in here. My computer today is really heavy. I'm really sorry about that. Okay, and now we are working on this unit, but instead we need this box, yes, in here. So now everything should be perfect. Alright, now let's move on. Now these two we will keep them right here. Okay, you will keep this one in here, and again let me show you what is happening in here. If we simplified and grafted, so you have a lot of groups. You have let's not graft. You have 3 branches. Each branch will contain 6 groups. So basically, when you want to deal with the first 2 were the sub-D, the second will be the light, the third will be the glass, after that the structure, and the second the wires. Okay, so let's say list item, and select 1 2 3 4 5 6. Yes, that's basically what we will do. And let's say list item, sorry, after that we will ungroup everything, ungroup those, and okay, and after that we will have those. Let's say zoom to see what's going on in here. Yes, they are basically meshes. Okay, that's great. Now we will say weld. And we want to make sure that everything is welded together. And MD, the mesh direction, just to make sure that all of the meshes are with the same orientation and the same normal. And after that, simply sub D. Yes, that's great. We want to make sure that the creases, we don't want any creases. We want the corners to be at the mesh corner. We want to add corners. It means that we want to create a creased corner. Again, we will Control C. I didn't connect this one to this one, because if I connect it directly, it will merge them together and create a smooth sub D, and this is not what we want to do. Alright, let's Control A in here, Control A and HI. Yes, I want to see, I want the computer to be a little bit it's really heavy today. Okay. After that, we will have this one. These ones will take the same material, so basically I will create sub D and make them an output. Just like that. And again, let's lock the solver for now. And let's Control C, Control V, because I want it 3 times, and this is really annoying. Okay. If there is anything, let's disable this for now. Disable this also, or remove it. Unlock the solver. Again, let's continue. I want to copy these. Control C, Control V. So we will remove this from here, and we will input the lighting and Control C, Control V, and we will input the fourth one, which is the glass. After that we will have the structure. The structure is just a simple p-rip, so we will just move it to here, and the curves are just curves, so we will move them in here. Control S, Control S. Save constantly in Rhino, because after that, after a while, if you didn't save, you will lose everything in Rhino. Grasshopper is recovering, but sometimes Rhino doesn't recover, so that's really you don't need to face this problem. I'm sorry, I will restart my Rhino and Grasshopper because it's really heavy. It doesn't supposed to be this way. And Grasshopper. Okay, let's continue. Now, what we want to really do is creating a series of boxes. Because we don't want the same box to be repeated again and again and again. So we want to create something. We want to create a pattern to select the specific twisted boxes and morph the first unit to it, and specific boxes to morph the second point to it, the second units to it, and the rest of them will be the third unit. I think it's a little bit better. Okay, so now we will remove this for now, and just to make sure that everything is perfect, there's something in here called group. Let's input a group in here and in here, and we want an output, so I will say Control C, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. I want these 6 output. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5. One and 2 into 1. Yes, they will be 5. And this one in here. I don't need this. This one in here. This one in here. This one in here. And of course this one in here. We will copy everything in here. Control C, Control V, and just like this. But instead of making, let's move these a little bit in here. Yes, and input this in here. The second one in the second one. The third one. The third one in the third one. And maybe we can input this. And of course input this. We will remove this one. And again, Control C, Control V. The first one, the second one, the third one, the fourth one, hello, the fourth one, and the fifth one. And I want this to be input. The input will be group, and Control C, Control V. The input in here will be group as well. Okay, and that's perfect. This is a cluster. So what I really did in here is basically created these. This is the main unit that we want to make an output of it. So this will be the first group of of objects, which basically the first unit. This one will be the second unit. This one will be the third unit. Of course, I hate this spaghetti, so I will select them and go to Pathmapper and select wire display and input it in here. And once I'm selecting them, I will hit select and simply hidden, and that's it. So this is, let's say, cluster. So now we have our cluster, and it's basically simple. You will input a group, and you will output the things that you want to show. All right. Now this, let's keep them in here. Let's give those some spaces like this. Yes, that's perfect. Now let's go to here. Let me show you something really important. They are all in the same they are all grafted, flattened. So let's say list item, and you will see if I said let's say 20 or 50 or whatever. Let's say for now let's start smaller. So as you can see, this is the 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I need them to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want the first column to be structured as a data tree, because I want to use after that I want to use a specific pattern to say, for instance, ignore the first two, or ignore the first three and pick the fourth, and stuff like that. So this is not the order of the boxes that I need. So basically what I really want to do now is create a data structure from this. So let's say this will be helpful for me. Why? Because I will separate them. I will say now I'll remove this. I will say partition list, partition PALI, or it's already here, partition list, and I will create a partition list. Let's say multiplication, and multiply this by this. Okay. Basically what I did in here, I have the sub D, and the sub D, when I deconstructed it, deconstructed brep, you can see that each data tree, each tree branch contains 6 faces, and the 6 faces I divided them into multiple pieces. So what I did in here is basically divided the tree that I already created into the original pieces. So if I said tree branch and I selected this branch, you can see that this is the first face. And if I said 2, for instance, this is the third, the second, the third, the fourth. You can see that each face, I've got exactly what I need from each face. And this part is a little bit tricky, so focus on it, please. So this is the first part. After that, I wanted to create, I want to divide everything. I want to create the select row, but because I want everything to be connected parametrically, I will make these groups like this. So each tree branch will contain a specific will contain one group, and after that I will flatten them. Let's remove this for now, and I will select the second thing will be, let's create wave, WEA. This is the first, this is the second. Now I want, because the first item is divided into 3, I wanted to pick the first 3 and separate them as a separate group. So basically what we did in here, I selected the wave component is basically selecting the first one is creating some kind of a zigzag pattern. It will select the first item from the first tree, the second item the first item from the second tree, and go back to the second item and go on. And after that, I will say partition list, and in here I will say shift with this quotation sign, or simply write double slashes. It will create a panel, and I will type 2. Okay, and again list item. So let me show you what is happening in here. Basically, I selected each face, each original surface, and selected exactly the number from the original genome pool or the multiple slider that I created. I connected them together in a specific tree branch to deal with them separately. So now all I need to do is simply ungroup this. So I will have this tree. Of course, if I simplified it, maybe I will show you that in here. Each branch, I still have the same branches. The first one will be 3. The second will be 70. Of course, the rest of them are 70 because they are in here 7, and the first one is 30 because they are 3. And let's say that I want to divide them based on the first number, which is basically, I will say partition list again in here, and this number. So let's say tree branch. So this is the first branch that we want to deal with. And if we moved on, let's say 2, this is the first branch, the second branch, the third branch, the fourth branch, and so on. But I need the first branch from each tree to be connected with each other. So what I really want to do, if you can see this one in here and simplified, you will see that it's basically 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 3, until we reach 1 1 1 2 1 3. So basically I want the second branch to be the first. That's what I need to do. So I will go to something called Pathmapper and connect it to here and create null, and let's say I want this to be B. In Pathmapper it's not important to capitalize anything, but I work like this, and A. Okay, so basically if I said tree branch and I said 2 for instance, I will see that this is the first, the second, the third, the fourth, and that's exactly what I need. So after that, simply you can join them. Let's say where are we? Yes, and they are twisted box. So let's say twisted box. So that's basically the thing that we want to create for now, and maybe we'll flatten them. And of course we want to export them. This is the first this is basically we created, let's say, list item just to show what's happening, and 50 or something, and just go to the 0 and move slowly. You can see that this is exactly what we are looking for. So again, just as a summary, I created tree branch. I separated the list into the main branches. After that I created them as groups, and I took the numbers and I created each group with each number. So in here it's perfect. Each tree contains the group and the number that I want to deal with. And after that I took the first item as the groups and ungrouped them. The second item will be the number, and in here I created I splitted them based on the number that I selected. And after that I shifted the tree, I shifted the pattern of the tree, and basically that's it for this cluster. Okay, so but of course I need now to make an integer in here, because I don't want the input to be like this, and maybe I will hit Alt and move it just a little bit like this, and this one will be here. Control C, Control V. I want this one in here and this one in here, and of course since it's already in here, let's move it to here, and that's the second cluster. In here it's twisted box as an input, so I will simply select the twisted box like this, maybe move those a little bit in here. So that's basically the second cluster that we want to do. And simply, of course I don't want to show anything in the cluster except this one. Preview off and cluster. So this is the second cluster that or the main cluster that we wanted to create. After that I want to now they are in order. I want to create a pattern simply to separate specific ones, to make them the first unit, the second unit, the third unit, and so on. So what we want to do now is simply create a pattern. Let's say twisted box again, just to make sure, and just dispatch. And when you do dispatch, just create a simple pattern. In this case I will say 1 enter 0 0 0 0 for some, maybe something like this. And of course I want them like this, and double right click and say multi-line. and now you will have the first twisted box. So they are basically like this. We selected those, okay, and again I want to create another, because I want the same. I selected those. I want exactly the ones above it. So basically what we want to do is create Control C and select this in here, and simply remove the last one, and again Control C, Control V, Control C, Control V. So this one is here, this one, not this one, sorry, this one in here, this one is basically the one above it. Okay, you can create whatever pattern you want. It's up to you. You can create the pattern in some other ways. It doesn't matter. Maybe you will want to say like this one, and set merge like this, and create a series of numbers. Okay, and in here I will say, sorry, in here I will say set number and simply 0. Okay, and in here I want set number and simply 0, and in here let's say 5 or something like that. Okay, and so that's the first pattern. Of course you need to flatten everything, so that's basically the first pattern. You can input it in here. You can create multiple complex patterns, but in this case you don't need to overdo it, because it's a simple task. It's not a complex pattern. And the complex pattern, as we did in the last one, you can see that we had to make a partition lists and a lot of things like that. But in here we don't need to do that. So work smarter, not harder. Okay, and now simply let's graft everything, because Rhino is annoying about it. This one, and this is the second one, and this is the third one. That's basically what we need. And after that we will create twisted box, but instead of inputting the first one, let's say input this one. Okay, remove this one, we don't need it, and in here input the first twisted box. In here the second twisted box. Alright, Control C, Control V, the third twisted box. Because it's not working in this case, it needs to be groups. So yes, and control with shift, it will basically remove this from here and input it in here and make it in here. So it's working. Okay, let's hope. Actually this one is here because it's the one above it. Alright, and Control C, Control V, and this one in here, and this one will be hello. Yes, in here. Okay, so let's again check this one. This one is the middle one, and this box is the middle box, so that's basically here. Okay, this one is the bottom box, and this one is the bottom one, so this one is basically here, and everything is perfect. Hopefully preview off, and preview everything off in here. Let's zoom to here, let's see what's happening. Okay, that looks almost perfect. And this is the second ones, this is the third ones. Sorry, there's something wrong in here. I guess that's what we need. This one. There's something not right. Okay, let's check one more time. Preview on. Zoom. This one will be for these boxes. This one will be for these boxes exactly, and with this box, so this should be perfect. Okay, so let's hide those. Preview off, so it will not be shown. Preview off. Okay, and this one preview off. Okay, so now let's show this one. This one should be in the middle, and this one should be, oh, that's not what you need. We need those to be in here, and we need those to be in here. Okay, so now everything's perfect, hopefully. Yes, so let's preview these off, and basically preview everything off in here. So if we zoomed in here, you can see that we have exactly what we were looking for. You can see that this one is facing up, this one is facing down, and in between there is the columns, the simple columns. Okay, so basically we will input this one in here, and input this one in here, and simply preview everything off, and just create a custom preview. I want to show this sub-D. Okay, and simply create a material. It's not super material, but just something to show, and maybe a little bit of let's create a swatch. The swatch in here to the diffuse. Let's create something a little bit gray, like the photos that I created. Okay, and there's something wrong in here because, oh, that's not what we are looking for. As you can see, because I didn't join them all together, it's not connected perfectly. So we need to double click on the cluster here, and as you can see, instead of creating all of this, let's remove those, and let's move these a little bit in here. Okay, and I will join the first one with the first one, the second one with the second one, the third one with the third one, and the fourth with the fourth, the fifth with the fifth. Okay, no, 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 no. You don't need to connect anything wrong, because it will show not perfect. So the order is really important, because in cases like this you need to make sure that you are connecting everything to the right input. If you have any questions so far, let me know. This one in here and this one in here. Okay, so again, I don't need to see this as spaghetti, as I mentioned before, or I can simply drag them a little bit in here, so everything, you know, should be a little bit easy to read, and I don't need to see everything in here. Preview off and preview these off. Yes, preview these off, and now it's perfect. As you can see, it's welded and the surface is smooth. The units are melted together, and that's exactly what we want to do. And simply save. Let's remove this and create a custom preview again. And sometimes it's annoying, like this grasshopper. Sometimes you need to deal with it as a small child, you know. Please do this, please don't do this. It's really really not cool. So it's already here, but you know, I don't want to do this. Alright, let's say, I don't know, let's disable this and enable this again. Disable and enable. So let's say save. Alright, because it doesn't see it, let's say it's here's your sub D, and again it doesn't work. In this case, we will explode the cluster. Explode it, right click on it and explode the cluster, and after that we will make it again. In this case, we want, even after explosion it doesn't work. Control Z. Let's jump in here. Let's remove these. And input them again. And let's hope it will work. 2 and 3, 4, 5. Control S. Please work. Custom preview. Let's go to shaded for now, and even in the shaded view, preview on, preview content. Preview content basically show you whatever inside, whatever components you are previewing on inside the cluster. Maybe turn them into brips. It's really annoying when you know prepare something and in the live stream it doesn't work. It's really annoying. Deconstruct brip. Doesn't supposed to be like this, but anyway, for now let's just input it as a brip instead of subd. Brip will take some time, or will take some. Okay, this is the brip, and remove these subds and remove these, and simply again Control C, Control V. Okay, and input this in here. Control C, Control V, and input this in here, and save. Okay, hurry up. Alright, let's say custom preview, but in this case we will say custom preview material instead of this. It was working in the original file. The original file is already on Patreon if you want it. The original file was working, and this one, let's say swatch. Maybe something related to the zoom. Really? I'm sorry guys, it was zooming. The graphic card was having a hard time. It was basically zooming. I'm really sorry. Anyway, let's move on. It's finally happening, and this basically the main subd. Okay, and you can of course in here you don't want to. Let's create custom preview now, and material again. This is the brip. Let's disable this for now, and it's working. Of course it's working. Okay, the material in here has let's say swatch is simply a diffuse, and of course I don't want it to be super like this. Simply I want it to be like this, and this is a specular. I don't want to deal with it. This is an emission. I will create it, but in the lighting, and in here it's the transparency. It will work perfectly in the glass, and the shine in here, let's say 50 or something. So the shine will appear more in the shaded view, so you can see it's more like metallic or something, in case you want to show it like this. Okay, maybe we will keep it like this, and Control C, Control V, Again, I want the second period. The second period was which basically the light. I want the light to be white, and I want to have a specular and emission, so it looks like this, very lighty. Okay, and Control C, Control V. I want the third one will be the glass. Okay, I want the glass to be transparent, maybe a little bit of shine, it's okay. I don't want an emission or a specular. I want a little bit of, maybe, let's say grayish, a little bit like this, like a gray, but instead I want it to be transparent. So let's go to the rendered view so I can see what's going on. The transparency is between 0 and 1, let's say 0.8 for instance, so it will be a little bit transparent like this. Of course, if you have, let's say, show, and you will see its transparency, the more this value increases or less it will work. Okay, and finally in here you will have the structure. So let's go to here, and of course I don't want all of this, maybe the shine a little bit, but in this case I want it to be maybe reddish like this. So you will see that the structure is already here. Let's disable this, and you will find the structure. Well, it's, of course, it's a conceptual structure for the facade, so it's not a main structure. And finally we will say custom preview, but line weight, I select the curves, and these curves I select the shader of them, let's say in my, let's say, swatch, and create something maybe almost black like this, or maybe I created them blue, but I wasn't sure that's the perfect color for them. And they are already inside, so if you want to see them, maybe we can disable this for a moment and you can see them, but I want them to look a little bit wider, so I will invert this. This is basically an absolute value that you will put at the thickness, and let's say 0.2 or something, and 0.2 is really huge, so let's say 0.05. Let's increase this. Okay, and 0.05, maybe, you know, you can of course deal with these numbers. Okay, so that's basically let's enable. Okay, and let's hide everything in here, hide these units. The sub D is already hidden. Okay, that's perfect. So that's basically what we needed to do. In here, when we want to show this, we will disable this just for a moment. So that's basically this part, because these two surfaces. Okay, we forgot to cluster these. It will take a little bit of time. Yes, that's perfect. Hurry up, please. Usually my computer is not heavy like this, but I don't know what's happening today, and with the electricity and everything, maybe because of the weather. So now everything is perfect. Of course, I don't want to see these wires because it's not looking cool. Hidden, and maybe this one. Maybe we'll keep this one. Doesn't matter. Okay, so that's it for this part. In these parts we will create the same thing almost, but instead of creating this pattern, because it's a little bit less than that, we will create another kind of pattern. So basically we will say log solver and simply copy everything in here just like this, Control C, Control V, and move it a little bit like here. Okay, and disable everything in here for now and enable solver. This is the best way to create a copy. You don't want to copy and at the same time your computer will process everything again once you copy it. So no, that's not what you want. Again, unlock the solver and simply show me the Rhino surfaces. I want this one, and shift and click again, so I will select the ones beneath it. Enable these and select set multiple surfaces and enable. In this case they are simple surfaces, so I don't need to create them like this. I only need to, let's say, I don't need this number. I just, maybe I will need only like 5 or something small. I don't need something big. Okay, and enable this, of course. This will be with me. This will be 5 by 5. In this case, let's say discard and close, because I want this this cluster to be separate than the other cluster. Because if I edit it in this cluster, it will create it will edit in the other cluster above, in the original cluster. So basically I will right click and say distangle. You will see that there is one. It means that there is one more cluster in the file exactly like this, and it's they are connected together. Once they are distangled, right click, you can see that it's not related to the other cluster. So basically we will remove this in here, and yes, everything is perfect, hopefully, as you can see. Okay, let's hide this, because yep, that's what we need in here. Okay, and save, and the same number in here we will input it here and enable. And again, let's distangle this. First of all, let's double click to see what's happening inside, because of the tree structure is not the same, so this one doesn't work. So discard and close, and again distangle this one. And all we need here is just simply preview on. We want to create a pattern. We want to create each row. We want to create each row to be separate. Okay, so basically I don't need this. I only need this, I guess. Let's say list item. I need this, sorry. Yes, this is the first item. Okay, second item, third item. That's exactly what I need in this case. Okay, I don't need all of this, none of this I need. Okay, and simply move this in here. And that's basically what I need in this case. Okay, and control save. And here's the trick. Let's say enable and jump inside. first of all, let's bake this one. Okay, just bake. Yep, just bake this one and click yes. It will take just a little bit of time. If it's sub D, it doesn't take that much, so I will make it into sub D again. Sub D is really light and fun to play with, and also gives you the fluidity that you need. So that's it. Okay. I will delete it, sorry. I will make it into sub D again, because B-ribs are really heavy. Is everything clear so far? Do you have any questions, anything? By the way, the order of this of this output is really important, because it will be the same order as an output in the outside the cluster. So this one will be the first one, this one will be the second one. If I want this one to be the first one, I just drag it up right here, so it will be the first one, the second one, the third one, and so on. But in this case, this is perfect. I'm just sharing this information. Save and close and show me. Okay, okay, input this in here. Yes, it's working. Alhamdulillah. This one in here, this one in here. Yes, it's working. And as you can see, it's really light. The sub D is really light. Okay, so simply bake. Is it already baked? Yes. And it's really cool. Okay. Now let's jump inside this cluster to show you what I really want to create in here. And preview on this. These are the patterns that I want to create. Okay. In this case, they are 50. It's like 10 by 5. Okay, so what I need to do now is input a number. Okay. And sorry, the black one is the input. And save. And once I've done this, I can now go to here, go to this 5 thing. Okay, and again jump inside, and I want I want to select the first item from each row. So basically, all I need to do now is creating a pattern. First of all, I need to create a series, series like this. The series will be 5 numbers. Okay, and the steps will be 0. When I create a pattern, the steps should be 0, because I don't the numbers to be incremental. I want them just to be like 0, 0, 0, multiple zeros or multiple ones, just like that. So in here, like the 0. Okay, the start in this case will be 0. It's okay. So and in here I will say replace item. Replace item, replace the first item. This is the list that I want to replace an item inside. This is the item that I want to input. Let's say 1. Okay, and this is the index. In the index in here it will be 0. So basically when I go in here, this is 5 zeros. So if I put this in here, it will be 1, and after that 0 0 0. So if I change this number, automatically this pattern will change. That's what we are looking for. Okay, and input this one in here as a pattern and show me this one. And this is exactly what I want. I want this row of twisted box. Okay, so now I will remove this. Maybe I will drag this a little bit in here, and of course I will drag this a little bit in here, and move these a little bit in here. Okay, and I will basically do this exact same, but in this case they are 4 in here, as you can see, 1 2 3 4. So in this case I will do them manually, but I will do a complex one as well. So let's say now they are 10, so I will create merge and I will create 10. Sorry, only 10, like this. Okay, in here they are 1 and 4 zeros, in here they are 1 and 3 zeros. Okay, and maybe I will say instead of 1 and 3 zeros, I will say 0 and yes, and the 1 will be in here. Okay, so what we need to do right now is picking the second one. The first one I will ignore it. The second one I will use it because I want to create a rounded surface. Let me show you in here. Maybe I will show you in some other photo. Let's go to screens. Yes, that's what I need to show you. This is what I want to create. I want these ones at the end to be rounded to the outside. I want these two to be rounded to the inside, and I want the other ones just to be simple, just like that. So that's basically what I want to do in here. And so I will Control C, Control V, and simply I will say this will be 4 zeros. So now I will pick this one in here, and this is the second one. This will be the second one, and I think this is the 10th, 9th, 8th, 7th. So this one will be in number 7, and the rest of them will be connected to this, all zeros. So now basically we created a very complex pattern, but exactly what we need. So just put this in here. You can see that this is exactly the pattern that we are looking for. So if we did this in here, if we input this pattern in here and just show me this, preview on, and select these, you can see that these are the ones that I need. These are the other ones, and you know, that's it. That's what we want to create for this part. And of course preview everything off and simply save. And of course I shouldn't done that because it's it edited in here. Okay, so I will simply go to here, select everything, Control A, Control C, and discard and close, and Control Z, and simply Control V. Okay, and cluster these in here, just connect this. So this is perfect, hopefully. I can't see anything. Control A, HI. Let's disable this for now. Zoom. Right, preview on. Yes, these are perfect. Okay, discard and no, actually save this one. That's the importance of distangle. If you didn't distangle, you will edit the main cluster, which is, in this case, we didn't want it to do that. So basically, if you misdone it like I just did, copy what you already done and Control Z and until you go back to the original cluster, and simply Control Best in the canvas, in the main canvas, and create a new cluster out of the new output. So now basically we will get this one in here, we will get this one in here, this one in here, we will get this one in here, and go to this twisted box and input this number. And so let's hope everything is working according to the plan. So enable and simply preview on and zoom. So as you can see, these two needed to be replaced with each other. So basically this one and this one, yes, I need the twisted boxes to be replaced. So this one will be in here and this one will be in here. Hello, this one and this one. Okay, the first and the second one. Okay, this one will be in here and this one will be in here, and simply preview off and preview enable, and again connected them in here just like this. And preview off and enable everything in here. Enable. It will take a little bit of time, and simply that's it. That's what we are working on so far. As you can see, the sub D is not perfect from Grasshopper. So basically all we need to do right now is just baking everything. Let's show. Okay, and after you bake them, let's hide everything in here, disable. Remove this. Okay, and simply show me these. After you bake them, you simply select the sub D and try to select the vertices that you want to modify. Like in this case, let's isolate those. ISO. Yes, and in this case these vertices were wanted to be modified, so simply select them like this, or these for instance, and simply make them click on here, create crease or add crease, and that's it for this part. I hope you already learned a lot of things, a lot of tricks, a lot of tips, a lot of Grasshopper data structure, how to create a complex pattern, how to create a complex data tree, how to create a complex partition lists, and let me show everything. So, and let's go to the rendered view. This is what we are looking for. Of course we can create this part as well, but for now everything looks perfect, everything looks promising. So I guess that's it. Maybe we can save this part because it will take a little bit of time as well. We will talk about it in the fourth part. So thank you so much. Let's go back in here. So again, this is my Patreon if you are interested to support me, and also you will find all of the files that we created and will create on this channel, available on the Patreon. So also special thanks to the Patreon supporters, and thank you so much for watching, and see you in the next parts.